Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to Toe Tags Metal Reviews, and today we're giving you guys an album review of War Party by Gwar. So this is part of our anniversary review series. We are celebrating 20 years of this album, and we've actually reviewed Gwar twice on the channel already, but neither of them were Odorous albums. They were both the Blothar albums. The New Dark Ages was the most recent one we did, which is on our two toe tags list. That was a great album, came out in 2022. The Blood of Gods was pretty good, but did not quite there to make the list. But, you know, glad we finally get to cover an Odorous era Gwar album here. And I mean, I think this album is a classic, so let's just jump right in. We've talked before about like, oh, did you hear that, 3-song stretch at that part? Oh, that was sick. What about a 6-song stretch?
A 6-song stretch on an 11-song album? Let's hear it.
The first 6 songs of this album, to me, are perfect.
Wow.
Just killer song after killer song after killer song, from Bring Back the Bomb all the way through Bone Snapper. All 6 of those songs are amazing. Bring Back the Bomb, crazy. I think I can say this for every track. The riffs are awesome.
Yeah.
And the album is really aggressive. You know, you look at Violence Has Arrived, which is the album before this, which was also a really good album, but I feel like they kind of tried to go even harder with this record, with a lot of this stuff. You look at the riffs on Krostica, and I know, you've said this to me before, that it's like, wow, it's similar to like Holy Wars by Megadeth.
Yeah.
And
which came out like 10 or 12 years prior.
Exactly. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're like, yeah, what if we kind of do something? It's kind of like the Holy Wars riff. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
And it sounds sick. Womb with a View, crazy energy in that song. Super duper fun. Like, I remember when we went to a Gwar show together, they did play that song. That was probably one of like the messiest songs. I think some of the most blood at the show was during that song. The pit was awesome. Like, that's a great track for that. Decay of Grandeur is a really good cool down song from the crazy energy of the first 3. Interesting thing, it's spelled wrong on Spotify. I looked into it a little bit. Apparently, it was a misprint on the back of the CD. It's spelled like that, and it wasn't like, it's literally just spelled wrong. Like it's not supposed to be like that.
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool song as well, and I think the groove of that one being a bit slower, they got a triple time feel in there, and they, I like that they bring down the energy, but it's still active. I think it's a really good example of Odorous's variety of his vocal range, because you got, the screaming, the brutal sounds or whatever. He's got a lot of cool inflections in his voice, and you can hear that in a song like Bring Back the Bomb, or really, honestly, anywhere in the album. But with Decay of Grandeur, you hear a lot of cleans from there too, especially with like the ending as well. Sounds really nice. Like he had a great voice. But then after that, you got the title track, which is like, okay, crazy, like the punk energy, right back up to 100 with that track. It feels like a party, you know what I mean? Even though I know the War Party is like a political party, that's the whole vibe they got going with that.
Yeah.
It also just feels like the album is just a big crazy alien party. And then you have Bone Snapper, which is amazing that, it's the middle of the album, we break down the energy, I saw him standing in the rain, like, and then the drums start to pick up that groove, like, holy shit, this is sick! But fuck, man, all 6 of those tracks, incredible. Just banger after banger. One thing I forgot to mention about Womb with a View, this song starts with a guitar solo. Lots of songs do that, and it's always cool when they do that. But what makes this song different is that it keeps going through the verse. Like, Odorous starts singing, the guitar solo is still going as he's singing. Like, no one told him to stop. He's just like, fuck it, I'm still going.
I don't know if I'd actually call it a solo. It's like basically like a tapping riff. But yeah, the verse starts and Vladis is just going ham. He just keeps going. No, that's like, honestly, that's one of the highlights of the album for me, is that Womb with a View intro.
Like, when I noticed that, I'm like, what? He's still going.
Yeah. No, that's good. Yeah, so that's a pretty bold, like 6-song stretch. I don't disagree with half of it. So I think the first 3 songs are fucking awesome. That's definitely a highlight. Decay of Grandeur, I think, is also great. War Party, though, that's one of the weakest songs on the album to me.
Wow.
I know, it's weird, but it's one of those songs that, for me, just comes and goes. It's like, you know, it's got a place, has a purpose, it does whatever, but there wasn't a lot that stood out to me on this song. It felt just like a typical average Gwar song.
Yeah.
And, you know, when I'm listening to an album by a band like this that's so eclectic, I want to hear something that's, you know, basically when all of your songs are eclectic, you got to find the more eclectic ones to stand out.
Yeah.
And this isn't one of them for me, War Party, the song. I just want to kind of back up a little bit and just say that, like, when I got into this band, I was a late bloomer on this band. Like, the reason why I'm thinking about this, because you said this album was a classic. And I'm wondering how Gwar fans would feel about that statement, because this album is like their 10th album,
It's like, yeah, it's like, I think number 9. And, you know, I actually looked into it a little bit, like just kind of looking online, like what are general opinions on all the albums. I see a mix for this one. Some people say it's all right. Some people say it's really good.
Okay.
Like, I've seen kind of a mix. So there are some people that would probably consider it among their best.
Okay.
I haven't heard enough from this band to really rank them all, and I want to get into the rest of the discography.
Yeah.
But based on all the records I've heard, which is about, I would say at this point, 4
Okay.
out of like over 10. But
Yeah.
I mean, I love this one. This one is probably my favorite of the ones that I've heard so far.
Yeah, I got into this band in 2006 when they dropped Beyond Hell. And I love that album. I picked it up. I just saw it at the record store. I was in the new release section. I picked it up, really liked it, and then started going backwards in the discography. I had known of the band before that because I watched Beavis and Butthead when I was a kid, and there was the Gwar songs on there. And I also knew a couple other songs, like Eat Steel was a popular one that I heard from time to time, and Sick of You, things like that. But anyways, I just wanted to point out that, you know, this was... my trajectory of Gwar listening was kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
So, anyways, let's get back to the album as, you know, songs. So you talked about the first 6 songs. I'm not going to go over those too much, other than, yeah, I don't really need to say much more about them. So let's talk about the latter half of the album now.
Okay.
So, Bone Snapper I think was good too, but Lost God I also think is one of the weaker songs on the album. And that's, so basically songs number 5 and 7 to me are the weakest songs.
It's funny you say that, because I said the first 6 tracks. Lost God is probably
Track 7.
It's track 7. It's my weakest one.
Okay,
I
so
feel
the album
toward,
takes a big drop for you.
I mean, it's like, it's not a bad song by any means.
It's not, no.
But it's like you have these 6 songs that are just like, oh my God, craziness. And then this one that's just kind of there.
Right.
It's just, you know, it doesn't...
Yeah.
I started to enjoy it a little bit more as I listened throughout the week, just because I was listening to the album so much. But it's not as good as the others. Not a bad song, but it's probably the weakest for me on the record.
Yeah. Following that is another song that wasn't the strongest, but definitely more enjoyable than Lost God and War Party. I would put it probably on the same level as Decay of Grandeur, and that's The Reganator. I really did like the riffs on this one. I like how the riffs and the drums kind of played off each other. And I liked how the riffs kept switching octaves. That was kind of a really cool thing that was going on. And another song that I'd kind of pocket in that kind of like middle of the pack thing is the last song, Fistful of Teeth. I thought it was a fun song. It has a slower, more brooding vibe to it. Otis does a few different cool vocal styles, which he does throughout the album. Flatus shredding away always sounds awesome, really cool stuff. And the thing that sucks though is there's 2 minutes of silence at the end.
Yeah.
And I was, you know, you're hoping that you're gonna get like just a fart or something at the end, just something worth sticking around for. But there's no point. You might as well just hit the skip button and go.
Which, you know what? If you're gonna do that on any of these tracks, at the very least, it's at the end where there's nothing left after that.
Exactly.
You know, but
what's the point though?
There's no point, and 2, it prevents that song from being a playlist song, because every time it comes on, you gotta realize, oh, the song's over. I have to hit skip, or there's 2 minutes of silence.
The only thing I can think of where it might be like a reason for it is if somebody's listening to the album and it's on repeat, and they don't really remember, and they kind of forget it's on, and you get these 2 minutes of silence, and all of a sudden Bring Back the Bomb starts all of a sudden.
Oh shit!
So that's kind of like, and you get like, oh man, we're back to it again.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we talked about the first 3 tracks. We both liked those. His stretch went a little longer than mine as far as great tracks goes. But tracks number 9 and 10, bam, 2 more songs that really nail it for me. So that's the bonus plan, which is Beefcake singing the song. And this is classic Gwar. This is that punk Gwar. It's in French. I don't know if you realize that, but the lyrics are all in French. And yeah, it is. It's just over a minute long. It's like a minute 10, a minute 15.
A minute 16.
A minute 16. And it's just a minute 16 of awesomeness.
It is. It's
One thing that really is good is the isolated bass moments, which I'm sure you probably noticed. And really cool stuff there. It's just such a fun, awesome, it's different. It really adds more character to the album. Really, really love that. Right after that, you have You Can't Kill Terror.
That's a sick song.
Which I think is a sick song. And one of the things that grabbed me the most about this song is the line, just think of the babies you buried alive, they haven't quite died. Now this whole song's basically a response to George W. Bush's war on terror, right? Mm-hmm. So after the 9/11 attacks, George W. Bush declared a war on terror, and he's saying you can't kill terror. You can kill men, you can kill armies, you can kill whoever, but you can't kill terror. Terror is not something you can just kill. It's going to be around forever. Deal with it, right? And he's criticizing the response, like you bombed all these buildings and stuff like that, and there's children in there, there's babies in there that are suffering. It's a pretty serious topic, but Gwar's a jokey band. But if you listen to the subject matter, it's pretty deep. It's pretty serious.
I think that's one thing that's great about this band, though, is that they have a lot of good commentary on stuff, but the way that it's all worded is in a crazy, wild, jokey, kind of evil-sounding way. But if you really look for the message in there, it's actually like pretty profound.
Yeah.
And I like that. And that's also a really good way if you're going to talk about stuff like politics and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Do it that way. Make it interesting. Make it so that you got to search for it and you kind of find the gold that way.
Yeah, and I get that. And I like how they kind of turn everything to like a fun joke. But when you're talking about babies suffering, like that's like Cannibal Corpse type of fucking death metal, brutal death metal shit. But they're saying it in almost a lighthearted kind of way, which is pretty sick, honestly. I mean, Gwar's a sick band though. Like they always have been.
You look at their live shows, right? You get like all these people dying, blood everywhere. It's like
decapitations and guts spilling everywhere.
Oh, everything crazy. So it's cool that they can do that. Like they have all this ridiculous, over the top, brutal kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But if you really look into the songs like that, you can find some stuff like that. And on top of that, there are some songs that are just wacky, wild, brutal, gross stuff. Like that is pretty just that. But so that's kind of cool. But yeah, no, both the bonus plan and You Can't Kill Terror, love those songs as well. I like the Reganator. I think that's a pretty cool track as well. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like overall, like it's just a really, really strong album, and it's the kind of album that it's like I always have fun with when I put it on, especially like focusing on it for, a week. Like you got that first 6-song stretch, which it feels so fun to put it on and know that the next track is going to be one of those, this one kind of tracks.
Yeah.
Just 6 in a row is like, I was entertained for so long. And Lost God is a bit of a drop, but it's not bad. And then you got the Reganator come on, like, it's cool. And then bonus plan, and then you're excited again. Mm-hmm. Fistful of Teeth is cool. It just has the 2 minutes of nothing at the end.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunately what nerfs it. But yeah, man, it's definitely a party. I'll say that much.
All right, so let's rate the album. So War Party has 11 tracks. It's 38 minutes long, so it's a decent length with enough good songs. Out of those 11 tracks, 5 of them for me are fantastic. Really, really solid. Out of the remaining 6 songs, sorry, I just mathed out in my head for a second. The remaining 6 songs, 3 of them are pretty good, and the other 3 are fine, but like I could do without. This is a hard album for me to score because I think it's one of those albums where it almost defeats itself in a way, because some of the songs are so strong that they make other songs sound weak in comparison. Whereas if those other strong songs weren't there, how strong would the other songs now sound without something else kind of holding them down or beating them down?
That's interesting.
It is. So it's hard to rate the album, but what I have to do is just rate it based on my experience of it And based on that experience, it's landing at a 7.5.
Wow.
Which is a shame, because I always like to give toe tags, but the War Party and Lost God, basically those two songs bring this album down enough to the point where it's just not going to make it to a toe tag territory for me, unfortunately. But it's still super strong, super fun album.
As for myself, I mean, there's only like one song that I would probably say is like a kind of like a whatever.
And that's Lost God.
And that is Lost God. Like I said, Fistful of Teeth is hurt by the 2 minutes at the end of it, it's just silence.
Yeah.
But everything else in the album is a lot of fun. Like the fact that I don't think I've seen a 6-song stretch of awesomeness like that often, if at all. Like that's really rare. It's an easy toe tag for me, which is a shame because it's just half a point off of getting it onto the list.
Yeah.
But I love this album to death, and I'm really excited to check out even more Gwar, the older stuff.
Yep.
You know, like it's always a fun time with this band regardless, right? Like don't let the 7.5 dissuade you. You still enjoyed it too.
Oh yeah, and I love this band. Like even if you listen to their older albums, like Scum Dogs and this Toilet Earth or whatever that one's called, and the older stuff, like they had a bit of a sound change too. Like they went through different periods, but I think around this time, like early 2000s to late like the 2010s ish, I think that's one of their strongest stretches, to be honest, in my opinion. They got a lot of really good stuff in there.
Well, anyway, guys, a 7.5 from Vile Self. And a toe tag from me, unfortunately not making the list, but that is our review of War Party, celebrating 20 years since its release. And that's all we got for you guys today. Remember to like the video if you liked it. Tell us in the comments below, what do you rank this album against the other Gwar albums? Because we know most of you guys probably love Scumdogs the Universe. I know that one's real popular.
It is.
But where does War Party match up against the rest? We'd love to hear what you guys have to say about that. And remember to subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. I'm TV Fish.
And I'm Vile Self.
We'll see you guys later.